So I got that haircut that I was talking about. I'm really enjoying no hair on my neck. It feels really nice. Hi friends, I'm Felicia. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my June wrap-up. I actually had a really good reading month. I enjoyed everything that I read, and I finished reading 7 things and then got halfway through a bunch of other things. But we're just going to talk about the things that I did finish. So let's get started. The first book that I finished is Herding Cats by Sarah Anderson. And I think this is the 3rd book in her Sarah Scribbles series. I've been following her for a long time already on Instagram. I love her comics. And for my birthday, me and Chris were at Chapters, and I had a gift card to spend, and I was having such a hard time deciding what to get. So he basically pushed me to pick up some books, and so this is one of the ones that I picked up. And I love it. Her shirt's velvety. I think all of the books have like a velvety something on the cover, and it's just so funny. She's just hilarious. Like by page, I don't know, page 4, I was killing myself laughing. So I really enjoyed this book. It's very cute, very fast. So I just very much enjoyed it. Now I want to go and get the other books that she has out. Okay, then the next book that I finished is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I was actually listening to the audiobook. That's an Audible exclusive, narrated by Tani Newton, and I thought she did a really good job. She did all these different accents and stuff for all of the the servants and her teachers and whatever, all of those extra characters. So I thought that added a nice layer to the book. And if you're not aware, this is, I don't know if I can say it's my favorite classic anymore, because Pride and Prejudice just completely stole my heart last time I read it. But this is, it's up there. It's one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite. I don't know. It's hard to say. But anyways, I've read this several times and I thoroughly enjoyed it this time. It did take me a long time to get through it just because I was familiar with the story, so I didn't feel that push to listen to it. So I listened to a few books in between. I just absolutely love this book. Will just have a place in my heart forever. The next book that I finished reading was A Paris Year by Janice MacLeod. A couple years ago I read her first book, The Paris Letters, yeah. I looked up, but I can't see the book, but it's up there on my shelf. Anyways, Janice MacLeod, she's Canadian, but she's living in the States working in, marketing or advertising, something like that, and she hated it. It did not give her life any purpose, and so she decided she was going to get debt-free, and she was going to sell basically everything that she owned, and she was going to live in Paris for, I think she was going to live in Paris for 6 months, and then Italy for 6 months, but then she ended up just staying in Paris. Yeah, so that's the first book, and then this book is kind of like her journal taken and made into a book. So it just has lots of stories of her day-to-day living in Paris. She has a lot of pages like this with lots of pictures and let's see, sketches and yeah, some paintings and stamps and stuff. It's just really cool. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. As you probably know, I'm just fascinated with books about Paris, set in Paris, so I really enjoyed this. And I just enjoy Janice MacLeod as a person, as a writer, and I just find her very inspiring. And I just absolutely enjoyed this. And even just the book, it just feels so nice. I just enjoyed holding it in my hands while I read it. So I would really recommend this if you enjoy travel, memoirs, if you want to be inspired creatively. I found this very inspiring. I just really enjoyed this. I recommend it. I just always say the same things over and over. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. The next book that I finished was Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. And I actually listened to the audiobook, and that was narrated by Peter Dennis. And Audible had 3 books for free in May sometime. I think it was May or April. Anyways, they had them for free, and Winnie the Pooh was one of them, and so I decided to listen to it. I think I've read it before, but I don't have a lot of memory of reading it, but I think I must have read it for my children's literature class in college, because why else would I have this book? The audiobook was fantastic. It was so charming. Peter Dennis did an excellent job doing like all the different voices for the characters, and there were little musical bits in between the chapters, and it was just so charming, and I was just like listening to it at work, and I just caught myself smiling at it so often. And like the story itself is charming, and I absolutely would recommend it for anyone that likes Winnie the Pooh, that has kids. Like, I think kids would love it because it was very engaging. And I know I think there's 4 total of the audiobooks. I don't know how many books are in the Winnie the Pooh series, but I would really recommend them, especially if you have kids in the car, road trips. I think it would be perfect because it's entertaining for adults too. The next book that I finished is Q for Treason by Jeffrey Trees. And this feels like kind of young adult. I don't want to call it middle grade because I think the protagonist is like 15, but it feels like more young adult. Like 12-year-olds would really enjoy it. Does that make sense? Anyways, I read this for my In Real Life book club, and I have never read this book, had not even heard of it, but apparently this is a classic and a lot of kids read it in school. And I can definitely see why, because it was very enjoyable. If you're not familiar with the story, like I wasn't, about a boy named Peter, and he is living during Shakespeare's time, and he gets on the wrong side of the law. He gets into some trouble, and his parents send him to London, where he meets up with another boy named Kit. Basically, they're just trying to make their way in London, and they meet Shakespeare, and they start working for him, and they and the theater company that he's with, and it turns into a very big and unexpected adventure. I really enjoyed this. This was a really good adventure story, and there was like some mystery, and like you didn't know what was gonna happen, and I felt nervous for Peter a lot of the time, and I just really enjoyed this book. It's just a really good book, and I see why it is a classic. And this book is hard to find if you're not on Book Depository, but luckily in Book Depository it was very easy to find. The next book that I finished I don't have because I had to bring it back to the library, and that is Volume 8 of Miss Marvel, the Miss Marvel series. Yes, I have been enjoying the series. One of the things that I like and don't like about Miss Marvel at the same time is that she is really focused on making like political and sociological commentary, while also being a superhero and entertaining and fighting bad guys. A lot of the time the bad guys are like real life bad guys, and so it often feels very heavy, but there is humor in it, but also at the same time it's just like it's very serious a lot of the time. And I get the point that the author G. Willow Wilson's trying to make, and like I appreciate that she's using her platform to say things that are important, but at the same time it's also just like, I don't know, like I appreciate that she doesn't shy away from heavy real life topics, and how she's able to tie them into superhero fantasy stuff, but then at the same time like sometimes it almost feels like it's like too much. So yeah, but I do enjoy the books, and I do intend to keep reading the series. The last book that I finished reading in June was Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Nouvel. This is the first book in his Themis Files, and I listened to this on audio. It's narrated by a full cast, and I think the audio works very well for the format of this book because it's like interviews, so it's a dialogue back and forth, and like there's not description or anything. Like the whole book is the dialogue back and forth pretty much, and then there's like some chapters like news articles. Not as interactive as the Illuminate Files, but like that's the same way of storytelling. Also, just by the by, look at this. It's so cool. Okay, but so this is a sci-fi story, and it's set in our world. It starts off with a young girl. She falls into a hole in South Dakota, and she lands in a giant metal hand. And then we fast forward to the future where people are trying to find the origins of this metal hand, and if there's a hand, is it attached to an arm, and is there a body that we should be looking for? It's about the people trying to find those and finding out why this thing is here, and it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. The audiobook was really good, like I said. This was very much more military than I thought it would be. I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting it to be like military focused, but like the military is trying to find out about the hand and such, and trying to assemble it. The body that they were looking for. This is a very slidey book. But anyways, this was really interesting. I enjoyed it. And I do have the other 2 books on audio, so I will be listening to those yet this summer. And this and Miss Marvel were the first 2 books officially off of my summer TBR, so go me. So those are all of the books that I read in June. If you've read any of these books, I would love to know your thoughts on them. If you read Q for Treason in school, please let me know, because I'm very interested now to know if you had to. I'd love to know how your summer reading is going, if you've read anything really good or anything really bad, or anything you think that I should read next summer, because you've seen my TBR shelf, right? But look at this. Look at this. It's kind of, it doesn't go all the way to the end anymore, so that's cool. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.